Happy Friday, everybody. What's going on? AJ, the CEO. Hope you're doing well. You know, we got to verify sound real quick. And I can find my mouse. Happy Friday. All right, sound is great here again. Thanks for watching, folks. Tuning in. AJ, the CEO here. We try to come to you every Friday if we're not doing some type of awesome project to help out another ministry all over the world. Thank you so much for stopping by. If I don't get to your question, folks, know that you can email me at questions@ajhomes.com. We will do our best to get back to you in 48 to 72 hours. Thank you so much. And again, if you don't mind, I know we just started, but if you don't mind hitting that like button, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. That's how you can comment on videos like this, because this live stream is locked to subscribers only for content comments, mainly to avoid a whole bunch of spam bots out there. And make sure you hit that bell notification and turn on all notifications. That way you get notified when we come up with anything that drops on this channel, giveaways, all this other fun stuff. So let me get up here in the chat. Is going in, and we just want to holler at a bunch of people. Mike, what is going on? Thank you so much. He is one of our moderators. So if you cut up, he has Mjolnir, which I'm not going to grab because I got way too much stuff in here today to actually play around today. I'm going to do this one shot so you can see everything is best. I'm trying to get out the way. Got a X32 for another install coming up. You see we got a whole bunch of boxes and stuff like that. I got like 3 computers on the floor right behind me. So hey, we's running out of space, and I don't like how that image looks. Hold on, let me bump up the image just a little bit. All right, that looks better. So we got a lot of things going on, guys. I am beyond thankful for all that, but let's hit up everybody. I'm going to hold on this first one because it looks like it's a junk message right now. Parker, what is going on? Francisco, what's going on? Is the sleep getting better for you, sir? Darius, what's going on? Hey, little insider story. If I was going to have a son, my whole plan was to name him Darius, and his middle name was Samuel, because my grandfather's name was Samuel Arthur Holmes. But he was always known by Arthur. My dad, Arthur Alexander Holmes Sr., he was known as Arthur Jr. That's why I'm called AJ. So there you go. There's a little about 4 bits of information about me. But if I was going to have a son, his name was going to be Darius Samuel. So there you go. Who else we got? Hello. Thank you. We got some questions, but we're going to come back. So let me actually hold that, and I'll just announce everybody else. Mr. Lester, hello. Carriers of the Covenant Ministries, hello. Norm, hello. Paul, what's up? Streets of Destiny, what's up? My cousin Derek, what's up? Reverend Richards, hello. Elsie, what's up? Christopher, hello. John Cook, hello. Who else? Shane and Hannah, hello. Keith, hello. Joshua, hello. Bob Powell 377 from Oregon, hello. I was actually thinking about going to Portland, Oregon this weekend. I needed an emergency getaway, but it didn't fall through. I have one of my friends who was a preacher's kid I met when I was like 11. We still talk. She's out from there. I was going to try and go out there. But she said she got some stuff going on, so plans got changed a little bit. But we got some plans trip. I was planning, and I'm going to say it right now, I was planning on going to London next weekend. I really was. But then I needed a getaway, as in recoup and everything like that from the head. But my concern is there's so many of y'all out in London. I know if I had said I was there, I would be compelled to want to come and visit y'all. So I need somewhere to literally shut down and relax. But doesn't look like that's going to happen until my 2 cruises here in about 60 days. Well, one of them is in 60 days. The other one is in August. What else? Francisco, tell your wife I said hello as well, and tell the little one hello. Mr. Clarence, hello. Monty, what's going on, man? Hey, you dropping some knowledge on your channel, man. Really appreciate all the great stuff you're doing over there. I need to take some of your tips and get some more, build my brand with some more stuff. So appreciate all the work you're doing over there, brother. Jackie Allen, hello. Christian from Trinidad, hey, what's going on? So, enough of the blabbing. I'm here to try and help as best as I possibly can, to give y'all some tips and tricks and all this other fun stuff. But before we get started, somebody sent this to me. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to look at all the stuff out there. But thank you so much for sending this over to me. And I'm going to do my super source on this one because I don't use it as much as I should. Let me change this. But Blackmagic dropped some hotness, and really, really excited about this new product that they have coming out. And you know we're going to get one to play around with it. But here we go. First off, Blackmagic, love their stuff. Obviously, I got a lot of their stuff here. I'm using a pocket cinema camera. Got a studio camera, A10 Mini Extreme, micro cinema camera, all that stuff. But they dropped DaVinci Resolve 18. Awesome. Has cloud services embedded into it. I have it on one system. I'm playing around with it. I also have it on my Mac M1, playing around with that as well too. I will give you a review of that and my first impressions of that. But more importantly, where we get to this right here, the new Hyperdeck, if I can say it, Hyperdeck Shuttle HD. Folks, you know we pre-ordered one of these because at first I have a Hyperdeck Shuttle at Antioch for recording on SD cards. This does the same thing. And when I was watching this, I was like, what's the point of doing this? Because first, and actually this is making, the image is making me see something differently. So anyway, the Hyperdeck Shuttle, it actually will have a SD card in here so you can actually record. And it has a humongous jog wheel. So if y'all ever watch Ridiculousness, again, a lot of profanity in there a lot of times, but it's hilarious. Stilo Brim runs something similar to like this. So it's a jog wheel so you can play through tracks. So just imagine it like a digital VCR. And that's the mindset that I have with something like this. And I need to do this as a breakdown video. But the idea is you can record the master recording of this. So HDMI out, it'll come in. HDMI in will come in from your ATEM and it can record on the SD card. That for me, that's not good because I use the ISO that records every single track, which makes me think they're going to come out with an ISO version of this, I'm thinking. But for me, from a ministry standpoint, imagine being able to actually have all of your full screen videos, video announcements, everything like that just played directly. You have lower thirds with transparency already saved and you can just play them and you don't have to worry with the DSK and all this other stuff like that. Well, technically you would still have to do that, but that's what I'm excited about this for. Also, it has a built-in teleprompter. So if you put text files and load it up on here, you can play it like it's a teleprompter for your talent or anything like that. If you want to do announcements, you want to do intros for your service, and you have personalities behind the camera, you can have a teleprompter for them to read it. So a lot of cool stuff that they have. And again, once I saw the video, I pre-ordered one. I don't know when it's going to come out, but you know we're going to be dropping the hotness for y'all so y'all can know how you can integrate that into your ministry. Pat, what's going on? A bunch of other folks. So let's go back here in the past and let's check out some questions. Kenny Lester here has a question. Good morning, AJ. I have a quick question. Inputs 1 on my A10 Mini Pro is now black. Inputs 2 and 3 work fine, but now input 4 has a pinkish hue to it. What do you have plugged into it? And if you take your original input that's going to 2 and 3 that are fine and you move them to those other outputs, is no matter what you plug in, is it always black for input 1 in a pinkish tint no matter what you connect to number 4? Because if anything you plug in gives you the exact same thing, you most likely have a hardware issue, and you want to contact Blackmagic, and most likely it's still under warranty. So that's what I would think. But if that stuff goes away when you put a different input into it, then it might be the source, whatever you're plugging in. Also, try switching out cables as well too. My cousin Derek here. Good morning. New hard lesson learned. The sound was off within the ATEM app, but it registered, made a checklist of things to look over before everything starts. That's interesting, Derek, because I mean, the way I set your ATEM up as well as I set mine up is I set everything with the audio in that's coming in, and then I save the startup state. And unless you go to save startup state again and you've made a change, that stuff should automatically start up again. So be mindful of that. If you want the audio to always be a line in, which y'all setup is, and you want the input onto mic 1 to always be on, set that as on the ATEM and hit save startup state. That way everything will always stay the same when you power everything down and power it back up. So if I cut over here in the ATEM right here, I need to make sure I have my stuff here. Like right now, if I go to my audio, see, I have my audio set to line for number 1. Number 2 is my mic when I have my Rode plugged in, my Rode wireless, which I have not used in quite a while. But once you have all this stuff set, your multi-view, your DSKs, your upstream keys, all this other stuff, like my super source is saved. After you do all this, and that downstream key is not, well, I don't use the lower thirds like that, but I'll set that right now. Right monitor. So now that you have everything set, you want to come in here and do save startup state, and that will save everything, which honestly it was horrible that I just did this, because every time I start it up, it's going to have this PC monitor being shown, my picture-in-picture shown, and all this other stuff. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to switch back to this one, and I'm doing save startup state again, and everything in the state that your ATEM is going to be saved and start up every single time. So just be mindful of that. If you accidentally make a change, that would be the reason why it doesn't start up that same way. D, thank you so much for the super chat, D. D is my admin. Man, she has made stuff so much easier. And also, D, side note, I finally got the paperwork from Arizona. So the recurring stuff weekly, we should be good. Yay, finally. But yeah, be mindful of that for anybody that's using the ATEM. That goes for the, not just the ATEM Mini Extreme, that goes for the big ones as well too. Let's see. Got a bunch of good mornings. Mike, I would agree. It is Happy Earth Day, everyone. Let's treat the planet right. It's the only one we got. Yeah, and I'm doing it right by, I don't know if y'all saw the shirt. Oh, I got one of many Teslas today. Well, the apparel. My other Tesla is still not scheduled to be here till December. So, you know, we're gonna do a tour of that. We're gonna churchify that thing. Let me minimize this. What else we got? Back we got to John Cook. Hey AJ, hope you have a great day. What wireless handheld mic systems do you recommend that would have zero dropouts of signal? Something very reliable and decent price. I would go with the GTD Audio. That is what I've been using for 4 installs, and I have been very happy with them, as well as the ministries that I've worked with have been very happy with them as well too. So they have different models. I've used the more cost-efficient one based on the request from the clients I've had. So something like this is very decent. Now this is going for $150. Now you could get another model that gives you more flexibility, that can adjust the channels. You know, this one I think works as well too. Works great as well too. So I will put a link to the first one. Again, as you've seen, I've ordered this at least 3 times, actually 4, but because I got like, actually it's going to be 7, because I got like 9 other ministries in the pipeline, which I am beyond thankful for that. So I'm going to put that here. DTD audio. Now they do have a 4 handheld set. They have a 2 handheld and 2 packs for like lavaliers, and then they have a 4-pack of the lavaliers. Just be mindful of whichever one that you get when you pick the list. So hopefully that helps. And again, I've used them personally. I would recommend for Antioch to get some of those as well too, just to have some more handhelds. Because the one that I donated to them, it was 4 mics, but they're only on 2 channels. So if you have a strong singer and a weak singer, you can't adjust them. That's why I always do mixed channels that are on the pulpit, but this one would allow for each 4 individual channels that can be adjusted individually. Norm here had a meeting this week to approve money for live streaming, but they are concerned that I need a second person to run it. Well, it all depends on the simplicity of what you're trying to put up. Yes, more people would be better, but again, I like from a simplicity standpoint, like right now, big shout out to my contractors, Rakira and Dana. They have been running the stuff at Antioch for about 6 months now, and sometimes Rakira's had to run the whole thing by herself, and they said she did a great job. Well, both of them, the ladies, did a great job on Easter Sunday. I wasn't there. I was in Epworth in Baltimore, and they did a great job. They not just adding the typical, they were improvising and adding new stuff for Easter. So that was awesome. So long story short, yes, you can. I like to have a setup simplified that one person could run it, but the more people, the better. All right, I already answered that question. But a follow-up was saying, how do I get someone without the equipment first? As in looking for a volunteer? It depends. I want to put that out to the group as everybody's watching. What are your thoughts on that? I'll answer that after I see y'all's responses to that. Can I make that in a poll? No, I can't make it in a poll. Just leave it in the comments what y'all think, and I will do that, respond back later. And Mike was saying, that's a chicken egg question. All right, so y'all saying my volume is soft. Yeah, I'm not talking too loud. Just leave it in the comment. Okay. So just verifying it. That's page 3, page 2. Francisco wants to know, do I have any recommendations for a webcam with zoom in and out capabilities? I think Monty did a review on this one. Is the Orb webcam? Wasn't that what it's called? It was a tracking webcam. OBS bot camera. I haven't played around with this. I wanted to get one, but I think Monty does have one of these. Correct me if I'm wrong, Monty. This one gives you that type of functionality. I believe it can zoom in as well too, but I may be wrong about that. But looks really cool. Looks really, really cool. But I would say ask him on that one. But that's what I would think. That's the only one I've seen that does that type of functionality. You said, can I adjust my volume? Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn up just a little bit. I am through a fat head that's enhancing my volume, but hopefully that sounds better for y'all. Mike was saying, that's a lot of stuff. How do you move carefully? And I only do stuff like this when my daughter's not with me because, yes, it is. This stuff is backed up all the way to the door, to be quite honest. So it's going all the way out there. And, you know, I see all these extra cables and stuff like that. And I don't know if you see it in the shot. I did it in a video. I got a new network rack. I needed a whole bunch of stuff. So I ended up ordering a 24 port switch for a client, and I actually ordered the wrong one. It was supposed to be a PoE switch, but it wasn't. But this was an enterprise grade switch. So instead of returning it, I just kept it, and it has 10 gigabit speed. So now I'm going from internet from 1 gigabit to 10 gigabit. So I'm looking at adding a 10 gigabit card to my NAS as well as my computer so that I can work solely off of my Synology NAS that's there. And I'm waiting for a rack. I ordered 2 racks from Amazon. They sent me the wrong size. I sent it back, asked them for a replacement. They were like, oh, we're sorry, we'll send you the replacement. And they sent me the exact same thing, which was the wrong size. So I sent them all back, and I ordered something completely different. They're supposed to be here. So now all of my NASs will be in here. I can clean up some stuff off my desk. There is a battery backup at the bottom. All of this is powered. So it was something I always wanted to get. The only downside I would say, this thing was damaged when I got it. So it's bent. So I have to lift up the door and then push it in when it closes. That's the only bad thing. But I needed something for space and get stuff out of the way. Francisco was saying with his daughter, sleep is still a challenge. Man, I understand that. Just know when they get older, sooner or later, they're still going to be like, hey, can I climb into bed with you? Yeah, I still get that one with the little one. But then my little one, she flops in her sleep. So I end up having an elbow, knee. It's like Mortal Kombat. I can get hit all types of place when that happens. Let's see. Norm wants to know, what is my hourly rate for phone and video consultations? Phone consultations are $75 an hour, 45 minutes, hour. And then video is like a Zoom or a Google Hangouts or something like that, Google Meet or whatever it's called. It's $100 an hour. Joshua. Hey, AJ, how do you get people to trust you at the start of your business? Also, how could someone get started in what you do? How do people get, how did I build trust? And honestly, I'm still working on a lot of this. My transparency from YouTube is helping me currently because I don't hide when I have issues, whatever, I do that. That's what I do for my channel. From the very beginning, I had to put up or shut up. So like for me, when I was at Antioch and I was quote unquote the most technical person there, when we put stuff in place, I saw the capability of what we could do, and everybody is just in general, a lot of people don't want to try anything new. So when somebody comes in that's completely saying something or offering or proposing something completely different, most people lean towards let's stay what we know instead of trying to venture out and do something new. So that's like the benefit of having a big company and a small company. A lot of small companies can move faster than a big company because they're so entrenched in their mindset. So I know it sounds long, roundabout way, but my answer to that was I stepped out and I took it upon myself to show without anybody else's expense except for my own that it was capable. So when I went to my church to say we could do cameras, we can do this, and they didn't believe it, I went and paid for the cameras myself. And then I put it in place and showed what we could do. Or when I designed our system of what we could do and I told them what the price was, they're like, we can't afford that. Hold on. That's the price I told you, but I already raised half of it on my own expense with the stuff as a proof of concept of what it can do. The other thing that I did from starting off in the business, and I said this to a bunch of people who contacted me, I say this on my channel, I don't offer anything or suggest anything to any client that I don't use myself. So everything that you see in here, the reason I've gone that direction is because, hey, if I want to talk about the ATEM, I have one. I have to have one before I can even talk to you about suggesting one to you. That's why I'm looking at getting an X32, just because I've been talking about it so much. I need one that I can play around with, and I personally have. All the cameras, the PTZs, everything like that. I show people, and I instill trust by the fact that I show them that there's no financial commitment needed on them. I come in knowing my stuff inside and out, not from an arrogant standpoint, but I know my stuff. I've come behind so many other companies that are going to ministries that they can sell you a whole bunch of stuff, but they don't know how to use none of it. They know how to hook up a camera, but do they live stream? No. Do you know how to put lyrics and scripture and stuff like that over top of that video? Do you know how to integrate it? Do you know how to send it to this place? Do you know how to have it send one stream this location, stream another way inside the house, outside the they don't know that. But I do, because I've set that up here, playing around with the tech to where I come in with a level of confidence, as well as I want to ease their concerns. That's how I've built trust. So long answer, but that's honestly what I've done. Annie Lester was coming back saying it's always black. Yeah, I would honestly contact contact Black Magic about a warranty, about seeing if it can be replaced, because it sounds like it may be damaged. Alrighty. Dylan, any preference between Fumaco, AV cans, SMT AV? Also, is it worth getting a 4K Honey PTZ optics camera for the ones I mentioned above? I personally have not used a 4K PTZ camera yet. I've fixed one at a church. I haven't heard back from them too. But I personally have not, so I can't really gauge that. But the one thing I would say, a 4K camera doesn't mean anything unless the infrastructure is in place. Like for right now, all of my cameras are 4K right now, but they're going into a 1080p switcher. So you're really not seeing the full quality of what the cameras that I have here in place. That's the same issue that comes with church. You can get a 4K camera all day long, but do you have 4K screens? Do you have a 4K video switcher? Do you have a computer that's going to be able to ingest that 4K encoding that's coming to it? Can you have an upload speed that can handle 4K that's being sent? Do you have a platform that can support 4K? That's my brother-in-law was just at a church down in Norfolk, and they had all Blackmagic everything, 4K everything. And I'm like, that's cool. But in my mind, for me, unless a client specifically said they wanted that, I personally don't even see a need for it. That's just me. Again, I'm just coming from my standpoint. Maybe it's because a lot of the folks that I'm looking at are looking more at the price more than the quality. So maybe if I got around other clients that they were like, they want the quality, maybe I would look at that. But me personally, even in my own setup, I'm going with 4K cameras just because they cost about the same as a 1080p camera. And you can't even buy 1080p TVs anymore. Everything is a 4K TV. That's why it makes me want to replace this one right here above me. But that's my mindset. But out of all those cameras, honestly, I go with the Fumaco only because they have been, every time I've ordered them, they've been available next day. AV cans, the last one, they're fine, but I think I ordered AV cans for the Zion Chester install that I was doing, and for whatever reason, they got lost. So I don't know. I'm not saying that that's an AV cans thing, but they just got lost, and I never got them. SMT AV, the only reason why I go with the SMT AV is because out of those three, that's the only one that offers it in white. And some churches specifically want a certain color to match the aesthetics of their sanctuary. So for availability, I always go with Fumaco. If I need something that's in a white color, I go with SMT AV. I don't have nothing to get against AV cans, but if I had a choice, that's what I normally go with, for right now. Joshua. Hey, AJ, how did a volunteer on your media team at Antioch Baptist Church balance one Sunday being in the congregation and one? Actually, they're never in the congregation. They're always upstairs. So there is no balance. Back to Dylan. Also, if I get an IP video controller, would I still need to daisy chain the PTZs? No. If you're using an IP controller, it's just going to see the cameras as long as they support it. It would just see them over the network. So that's why I've been moving towards those. IP controllers do cost about double or $200 more than the serial joystick, but it simplifies everything. You just got to send a video cable from the camera and a network cable, because I'm sending PoE to it, I'm sending network access, and sending control. And the IP controller just sees it on the network. It makes it really simple. So no, you don't need to daisy chain, because it's just going to pick it up. It's like a computer sees a printer on your network. That's how it will work. Anthony Johnson. Hey AJ, I have an ATEM Mini Pro with audio issues from an Allen Heath QU24 running the audio to one of the cameras from the aux out the sync. The audio is not great. What do I do? My first question would be, the first question I would be in this type of scenario is, why not just run the audio directly into the ATEM? Because I know a lot of people said that they've had sync issues, but they did an update a while ago, and I have not noticed a sync issue if you're sending the video and the audio directly to the ATEM and let the ATEM handle that. That would be my first question. And I forgot to unplug my phone. Hello, sir. Can I call you back? I'm actually in a live stream right now. Yep, no problem. Bye. Sorry, that was actually a client that I have out in South Carolina. But that was that would be my question, and I need to turn I moved everything in my rack, so I can't get as easy access to that. Hold on, let me unplug this. We just unplugged the phone. Now, I can't really talk about this because I think it's still in beta. But y'all know I like Unify stuff. I don't know if y'all can see that Unify logo. I'll leave that alone. That's Unify Talk that works with the UDM Pro as well too. Been playing with that for a while now, but when it's come to beta stuff, I can't review or talk about that stuff. But yeah, that's my question would be like, why are you running it to the camera? Try and run it to the ATEM directly and see how that works. Christoph was saying the same thing. Yeah, love the shuttle. Hope it's in stock fast. I do too. I really hope it does. Black Magic, as much as they have hot stuff, they drop it and then it's like 2 to 6 months before you even can even get your hands on it, which I don't like. Back to Joshua. Also, do you have any growing activities with your, I used to, but because of COVID and then honestly, just a lot of stuff has fallen off from my media standpoint, just to be all honest. Just because it's like the expectations of what we need to do from a media standpoint, we're asked to do a lot, but it seems like we don't get a lot of the support that's kind of needed to have it grow for that. You know, because it's like, I mean, for a long time, we had a whole bunch of people coming into our youth, but then a lot of people had a mindset of, we don't want youth, we want people that can drive, we can do this, this, and this, not thinking future. So that now we're 4 years later, well, we need more people. And we don't, because we ran off a lot of the people that we didn't want. We didn't want kids in the media booth, not realizing that those kids get older and they could have stayed in poor. So for us right now, unfortunately, we have a very small pool of people. So our Antioch hired my company, and I'm bringing in the kids, and I'm paying them and training them on how to use that. So for them, it's kind of a work study, put some money in their pocket while they're in college, gets them to show more interest. Because, hey, if you got to bribe people and then you kind of show them, yeah, a lot of people have probably started, they're like, oh man, Mr. AJ's paying very well. But then when they come in, it's like, oh man, this is exciting. This. Oh, I could do this, and this. And it shows them, I'm like, oh, this is why Mr. AJ does the stuff that he's doing, and he's doing on YouTube. It gives them a different perspective of, I can do this for church, but it's a skill set that I can use somewhere else. And, that's my thing that I try to grow from that standpoint. The days of, hey, you having to come to church because your parents make you, or your grandparents or whatever, that stuff just doesn't work like that anymore. So for me, instead of me expecting you to be here, I'm more of, what skills do we have here that God has probably blessed you with that you can use here, but more importantly, you can use that as well out in the world. Because again, hey, yeah, I have no issue sharing with the fact that I'm a Christian. But I also share that I'm a Christian business owner. And some people don't think that that can work because a lot of people don't talk about it. They hide that. I like to show that, look, God has blessed me in the skill set of me being faithful over a few things, and he's added onto me many because I was faithful in that few. When I was faithful with just the music, it's expanded to media, then it's expanded to business, it's expanded to YouTube. And I like to show that, and then hopefully that's why when Josh reached out and said that he wanted to do that, that was humbling, because I didn't think anybody would be interested in stuff like this. I like to do what I'm doing to show that there is another way. And it's not just you being stuck inside of a building, that's the only place where God can bless you. You can use whatever social media, online, whatever, to reach and impact different people. Like, hey, I'm not going to throw scripture at you, but you can see the scripture is in me. I live it. But at the same time, I let that drive what I'm doing, the passion of what I do. So, and I know this is going on other than your original question, but the idea is, what I try to do from my activities is try and bring in what I'm doing now into other activities to evolve just beyond the media. But what we used to do is we used to go out to Top Golf. We would go out to just have a team building type of stuff. We'd go get pizza, go get some wings. I tried to go do movies, but everybody wasn't into the Marvel stuff. But I want to have activities like that, and I really encourage y'all to do it as things are starting to lax a little bit more from a safety standpoint. But you really need to do that so that you, first off, it doesn't matter how much money you give anybody. That's the reason why, honestly, and I truly mean this, that's why I try and give out as much appreciation as well as financial as well for D, as my admin, Augustin, all the people that work with me, because it's like, hey, you can get paid tons and tons of money. People will still have left, even they were being paid well. It's appreciating the stuff that people do. You can always get more money. You can't get your time back. So that's why I appreciate, and I try to show in actions, words, and deeds the appreciation for the people who work with me, work for me, and I'm in collaboration with. And I think that's one thing from a ministry standpoint that a lot of ministries need to work on, not just from a media standpoint overall. Why are people leaving? Because honestly, they might not be getting what they're wanting, but another thing is people are not being appreciated. When people are really working hard, media folks, y'all know, some of y'all are staying up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning working on this stuff. And then to have people just say that snide little comment about, like, why don't you do this? And it's like, do you realize I've been up for 6 hours? Like, I don't know. I'm getting on a rant and I'm getting ready to go off. So let me go to the next comment. But let me know if y'all feel that's true. Scott, Robert, hey, what's going on? Thank you so much for stopping by. Jerry here. Hey, AJ, we need additional inputs on our analog mixer. What are considerations between analog and digital mixers? Will a digital mixer give us better sound? I mean, it's not necessarily about it giving you better sound. Some people are saying analog would always be better than digital. I mean, it's up to you. If you're just talking about additional inputs, you're going to need, a digital mixer is going to make it easy because you can just add a snake to it as long as the board can support additional channels. So like the X32 can support 40 channels, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, the folks that are out there. I mean, I've never used more than 32 at this point, but I think it supports 40. I'm probably wrong on that. But, I mean, you can add more that way. I mean, you can daisy chain these things together, different boards and stuff like that. Analog, for the most part, if you want to have more channels, you got to get a bigger board instead of just adding a module to a digital board. So hopefully that answers your question. That was page 3. Oh, man, Mr. Clarence, I missed your comment there, sir. The new Ada India 18X PTZ shipped in about 2 weeks after order. It was drop shipped to the wrong address. Took another 2 weeks to track it down. I'm still, I talked with Ada Imaging. They're going to they've been back ordered with all those cameras. They're going to send me one to do a review. So I'm waiting to hear and see that as well, too. I'm really excited about that, especially at that price point. Neftali, hey. Brian Jones, what's up? Sorry if I missed y'all. When I'm switching through channels, it'll move your stuff over, so I missed it. So my apologies for that. That's page 2, page 1. All right, Reverend Richard. How is Signs and Wonders install going and the video board? And thanks for bringing us along with the installs. Hey, you're welcome. Everything was actually great. I'm actually going to IKEA tomorrow to get a desk similar to the desk I have. I have a YouTuber desk, as they call. It's a IKEA countertop that was like $35. It's an 8-foot countertop for $35. Legs were $5 each, and then a cabinet that's like $90. So I'm gonna get a couple of those. 2 6-foots. No, I think a 6-foot and an 8-foot, and I'm building out the media booth. There. It's going very well. I have not had a chance to get over and do the second part of the digital wall, but I mean, it is going very, very well. I went over there this morning and they have a whole bunch of stuff over there. Right now they got a bunch of boxes and they're separating rooms and everything like that. So if I show you, this is the shot from when I went this morning. Make it full screen so you can see it. So this was me running, and it's at an angle. It does this in motion. It does better, but they got the podium. We got everything here. I don't have a picture inside the booth, but they got all these boxes and everything right now with all the stuff that's going everywhere. The electrician has electricity. Not the way I would rather it be, but I mean, we got an electrical outlet on the opposite side of this back wall. I am going to put a power strip down here for the 2 cables that are going from the digital wall right here. We got it, and I'm gonna probably plug the power for these monitors into that as well too. So only 1 cable is going back there. There's our 4U rack mount. And again, not again, but where's it at? I had an epiphany the other day when I was working on some stuff. And again, this just shows you how much I don't know everything. So if you have any type of rack mounted equipment, you'll get things like these. I don't know if you can see them, but these little bolts that you would screw in for the rack mount. For the longest time, I would always connect them this way, and they would be falling out and everything, and I did not realize that you clip these in. Do I have something close enough that I can do this? I don't have anything to show close enough for me to do it, but you actually, there are hooks right here. These clipped into the rack mount and hold it in place. Then you screw it in. I'm like, I for so long, I never did it that way. And no one always struggles to put the stuff in place. But anyway, so that's what we got going on right here. And this is it in motion. This is from, of course, it's not in full. Trying to play it. Like I said, I recorded it this morning when I went by there. Yeah, from the angle, it looks kind of weird, but just really excited about it because the whole thing is going to be done by next. We got to finish it up pretty soon. At this point, the only thing I really got to do is get all the wiring upstairs. Once they put the outlets, plug the TVs permanently in the connection upstairs, as well as build out the desk and then move everything in there and then connect everything. That's where we're at. Everything else is done. I'm waiting for them to put another electrical outlet in the entrance for the digital signage, but everything else is done. I'm just waiting for them to finish that part and the desk, which reminds me I need to reserve a U-Haul van right after this so we can get to that. But thanks for asking. It's been very, very, very fun. Mark has to agree with the comment that he can run everything by himself, but it makes it so much easier when his son is with him. I have to agree. John Cook, thanks AJ, glad you mentioned. I have been told that brand by others. Hearing it also from you helps solidify the brand for me. Much appreciated. Hey, you are welcome. Back to Pat. What was your remedy? This was a comment that I've actually had some people in Chicago and Epworth had the same issue. They were talking about where the camera, Union Grove is the first one I ever noticed doing this. They were saying that their cameras would ghost move by themselves. I had that experience in Union Grove at first, and that was because of the cables. That's when I was using the RS-232 connection, and that cable was going from the joystick to the camera, down up under the floor, and then up to the next camera. Found out they did some repairs there was a grounding issue on one of the wires, and my cable was too close to some of the power stuff that they replaced, and it was giving an intermittent interference on the signal. Once I completely got rid of RS-232 and just went over the network, that solved it there. Now, Epworth is having the same type of issue, but I think their cabling, from what they said, their Ethernet is beside a bunch of power cables that are going to their lighting. That wasn't there originally. So I have not heard back from them. So for me, it was just to isolate your Ethernet cables away from anything with power. Then also make sure if you're assigning an IP address to them, make sure they're completely separate. Like I think it was Epworth as well too. We hard coded the IP addresses for the cameras, but the switch that was connecting all of the equipment in the media booth to their router got disconnected. So when a router handed out an IP address, it handed out an IP address to one of the ones that was assigned to the joystick or the camera. When the internet connection was reestablished with the media booth, say the joystick was on 192.168.1.50. It was on 50. They handed 50 out to something else, and then it was just a conflict. Those were the only two instances I noticed that. So from an IP address, I just went into the router and said 50, 51, 52, 53 for the cameras and the joystick. They are locked to the router, so the router will never assign them to anybody else. That was the other thing that I did. So sorry if that was super technical, but that is exactly how I resolved mine. Back to Monty, for you, Francisco. Yeah, he says he has two of those, and they use hand gestures to zoom in and out. Thank you, sir. for that. Benoit, I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. I hope I'm not. I would say that any volunteer should watch AJ's channel before to check the way to use the product. Hey, I appreciate that. I really do. Jackie wants to know what's Monty's channel. I will tag it here in half a second. Let's copy that link, and then we're going to put Monty's channel. All right, there it goes. It should be in the comments. Paul, hey AJ, question: is there a difference between a normal HDMI cable and a 4K HDMI cable to the video and audio stand out? Honestly, I haven't noticed a difference. I mean, if it is, I mean, some cables can handle a different bandwidth. Now you're talking about HDMI 1.4 and 2. You're talking about a protocol. I haven't noticed the difference. I haven't. So I can't really thoroughly answer that. But out of all the cables that I have not noticed the difference. The same cable that I had on my PS3 is the same one that I moved over to the PS4 and it handled 4K. And the same one I moved to the PS5 and it's handling everything fine. Now, I don't have anything for 120 hertz, so I don't know if that's possible, but hey, we'll see. Robert here. What's a recommended setup for a person running a live stream by themselves? They may be a loaded question. Well, this is my live stream, and I'm doing it one person. I have the A10 Mini Extreme right here. If I was just doing OBS or vMix, I'd have a Stream Deck so that it's coded right here in front of me. And if I had PTZs, I would have the joystick right here in front of me. And that's a one setup. Now, the other thing is audio. Can it be done? Yeah, it can. I mean, that's why I think the digital part is, if you had a digital mixer that has a web interface or an app interface for your audio, oh, that makes it easy because you can just have multiple monitors to set up everything. Because, I mean, like here's my setup right now for what? Oh, wait a minute, wrong camera. So this is my setup right now, and web presenters, so I'm seeing the live stream right here. That's vMix running everything. This is where I'm seeing y'all. These are the comments that I'm responding to. Here's the live stream status on the other monitor right there. And then I have my monitor right here, and then my multi-view right here. And this is honestly kind of like the setup that I'm looking at trying to build at Guilfield. It's going to be simplified, but it's mainly going to be one computer running scripture and lyrics, sound, the X32 that's on the table over there, and then an A10 Mini Extreme. So it's just trying to pack everything in, and yeah. So let's see. Mike was saying, I wish the OBS bot had Visca control though. Yeah, now, Mike, I'll be honest. I don't know why you, as a programmer extraordinaire as you, I'm surprised you couldn't do some type of API that would convert its controls to Visca. Visca is kind of simple from a coding standpoint in the stack and the header that is being sent over. But Paul, you're an honest, solid Christian man who performs. Hey, well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Pat, so is it wrong to ask for a love offering or ask to be paid for video work you do in your own church? As a musician, I've had this same question come up. And it really needs to be revisited in ministries. You got to realize, just like now this opens a can of worms, but a lot of folks would say, why should we pay musicians? Musicians is a skill. Everybody just doesn't do that. So you're first off, compensating people for their talent and their ability. But then more importantly, if you read when it's talking about tithes and offering, the tithes and offerings are meant to maintain the house. And then the remainder was meant to pay the people who help maintain the place. So using our current terms, the preachers, the sextons, the generators, the janitors, and then the other worship leaders, as in musicians and stuff like that. So when it comes to now, because of the need of media, and it's not just turning a button on, I really think it should. Now, I'm not just saying that just because I'm that. Like, again, if it wasn't for Antioch hiring my company, they didn't pay me for what I was doing from a media standpoint. Yeah, they paid me monthly for maintaining the website, but that's a web administrator. At a certain point, you have to realize, yes, if you have the talent and ability and you want to share it, yes, that's perfectly fine. But when you really look at what it takes to do a media production and the prep that it does, that is almost like a full-time job. And it's a bit much to ask people to volunteer for full-time work without any form of compensation. I mean, an honorarium or whatever. I mean, that's fine. But I don't think, let me put it this way, I think it's difficult for you individually to ask for it, except for just putting it out in a state of like, look at the value that's being brought. And it is one of those conversations I really need to do a deep dive and talk about it. And have somebody else to talk, so it doesn't seem like I'm just saying, hey, y'all need to pay us for what we're doing. It's deeper than that, but good question. WDK Digital Designs here. Hi, AJ. Thank you for being here. I have 2 different off-brand 4K cameras and 2 off-brand capture cards. When I connect, I only get color bars using Windows 11. Make sure you go inside of Windows 11, you turn off privacy, just to make sure that that goes all the way through. Because sometimes, let me see if I can show this on here. So here, we're going to go into Windows 11. And let me minimize my window here. We're going to go into privacy. And we want to make sure we have camera settings. Make sure that is you give camera access, because I've seen that sometimes that you're just getting the bars, like with the AJay UTAP, which I need to get back from Spring Creek. I need my capture card back. But that would just show that because Windows was blocking it. Make sure if you have camera access, first is on, and then the app has permission to use that. That's the first thing I would say to check. Anything after that, then that might be something else we have to do. Brent here, and let me bring my screen up so I can actually read it. I'm switching us from ProPresenter, which was hogging more resources with the latest version, and at least on my aging iMac. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at putting ProPresenter at Signs and Wonders just because if I needed to have all the bells and whistles, it would have gone with Worship Extreme. It would have cost so much in comparison. We could have paid for ProPresenter by then. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think at Antioch, we stopped paying the upgrade fee because it didn't used to have one. We had ProPresenter before they started that yearly $60 to keep the upgrades in place. We're still on version 7.2 or 7.1 or something like that. And it's been working fine for us. Yeah, from doing software and stuff like that before, yeah, I really think a lot of times it seems like they don't, again, I'm not behind Renewed Vision or nothing like that, but just from updates in general, it just seems like people are not thoroughly testing this stuff out to have so many parts. Lamorris, no, it wasn't. I hit the wrong camera. You should be good. Everything seems fine on this side. Also, Lamorris, thank you. Thanks for the information about the audio sync with daytime. Hey, you are welcome. See, Dylan wants to know, is this a IP controller? I don't think your link can come through here. Let me see. Oh, there's no link. So send a link, Dylan, and then I'll approve it so that way I can see it. Now, I've used a bunch of the IP controllers. I have not got a chance to use PTZ Optics SuperJoy yet, but we'll see. Let's see. Hey, AJ, using the ATEM Television Studio HD, can I send a video signal to 3 different devices, 2 TVs and projector locally at the church? And can I switch between sources as I want? Not independently. You have 2 outs. You have your program out, which, again, I forgot who said this, but they educated me on this, and this helped me remove the need for a SDI splitter. But let me see if I can show you a picture of this real quick. Come on, where's it at? I'm on Blackmagic site. I just want to get a picture. All right, so here on the Blackmagic site. So here's the ATEM Television Studio. Now, the other thing to realize, let me zoom in on here. On this, you only have the aux out that will give you something completely different that you can use from the app. You can just change it. That's what we did at Abundant Life. So we have the back monitor hooked up to aux, so we can switch between program or anything. Right now, the aux is locked to a stage display, and then you have program out. But the program out also outputs over these 4 SDI outputs. So those 4 will give you the exact same thing as the program out. So you only have 2 that you can do. Once the program is out, that's it. Aux is what you can adjust on the fly for it to be separate. So if you need 4 different outputs, the ATEM Television Studio cannot do that unless you add something to it, like that smart video hub or something like that, if you really want 4 unique outputs or 3 unique outputs based on your question here. 3 different. But I mean, what did you want to be displayed? Did you want all 3 of them to be different, or did you just want 2? Because, I mean, you could have the projector kind of like, well, I need to know the details of that, and we can answer a little bit more thoroughly for that. Back to Paul. Which cable is better for use with a wireless mic? Connecting from a wireless mic receiver to the mixer, XLR cables? I mean, honestly, it all depends. I personally like XLR. That's just me. But it really doesn't matter. At least from my knowledge base, it doesn't matter. Because I think some of the ones that were at Zion Chester, they had XLR to 1/4 inch. I converted them to XLR because we were able to, and it just made it simpler. It's easier to buy a bundle of 10 of these cables than to get 8 and then another 2. And I'm like, Back to Christian. I currently do streams for my church and the other churches as well as for a radio station using the same setup, which I need to be portable. Do you have any recommendations for what I should use ideally? I mean, your setup sounds like just like when I was doing games. Mine mainly was sorry, I just read this over coming. Mine mainly consisted of the ATEM Mini Pro, then moved to the ATEM Mini Extreme, and I let that handle everything. And then it all depends on the type of cameras that you want to set up. Now that I have access to more PTZs, I personally would do that. And if I didn't want to include the ATEM, what I would do is have a closed network, have NDI cameras, and then have a network controller so I can control them that way. That's just me. But again, it's from a scale standpoint for me. When I did the games, I had 2 cameras, one for the field. I had another one for the commentators, headsets that plugged into the ATEM directly for them. And I was bringing in audio over HDMI from the camera that was taking the field, and then the ATEM handled the streaming. And then I had another laptop plugging in for the scoreboard as a DSK overlay. That was my setup. And the same thing, instead of it doing an overlay for sports, it could do scripture and lyrics. Exact same setup. It all depends on your cameras. Let's see. Back to Paul. In OBS, the CPU usage percentage, is this considered overall usage or only OBS usage? It is CPU usage of OBS. Back to Lamora's. Hey, AJ, I will occasionally show the live stream cameras in-house through ProPresenter, and when I bring up the cameras, all the screens will flicker at sometimes. Any thoughts? That might be because you're bringing it in, it's being brought in through the ATEM over USB as a video input in ProPresenter. Is that correct? Let me know, and then we can go back to that. Reverend Richard, the pay offering, the church should bless those who contribute to corporate worship. For a long time, no pay, underpay was expected for any position outside of the pastor. That is true. Honestly, in 30-some years of my dad being a pastor, he never got a raise. And the people who did that, I mean, they're long gone. But, I mean, my dad as a pastor, he was being paid $1,000 a month. And that was it. And he never got a raise in over 30 years. And to be quite honest, he tithed more than what the church paid. So, literally, he just took what the church paid and just gave it right back in tithes and offering. Back to Mark. We had a fellow that ran his own web hosting. When I found he was doing it for free, I advocated for him being compensated. He felt it was part of his tithe ministry, but I know what he expended monetarily. Now, I'll be honest, and I've talked to a bunch of ministers, and I have not gotten an answer in prayer. I haven't been directed that I was wrong. But when I lost my job and I didn't have anything, I didn't have a way to give 10% or my tithe and offering, but what I did give, I gave the best, just like the widow's mite. I gave the best that I had, which was my time. I didn't get that back. That's why all my earlier videos, I'm in church. Because that's all I did, because I didn't have a way to compensate. I mean, it was times where I was struggling just to put gas in the car to come pick my daughter up from school. But I gave what I could, which was my time. And I put so much time into doing that. So I understand that concept. And that's the one thing I would agree that I felt that was me. I tithed my time. Other comment from Mark. He kept our church website on his hosting. He needed to be compensated for his work. I agree with that too. Rodney. I produce Sunday worship services as my service to my church. As my service to my church, funerals and other services the church offered to give our media ministry a payment. Awesome. Hey, Dylan, for whatever reason, the link isn't coming through here in the comments. I think the way... Oh, wait a minute. I have your comment saying it was retracted. So I don't see your link here. Mike, if you see a link come through Dylan, go ahead and let that come through if you get it before I do. Well, pal, excuse me for yawning. There have been many very useful updates to ProPresenter 7 since 7.2. The 7.2 have macros. If not, that alone is worth the cost to upgrade to more recent versions. The current is 7.9. Yeah, I mean, I know they probably have good updates. It's just having to ask for some money to get the upgrade. That's the issue. Honestly, I was looking at buying ProPresenter myself for me to have it here. I don't know yet. I don't know if there's a need for me to do that yet. Bishop Michael. AJ, what's the easiest way to stream our church service remotely on the road using the ATEM Mini Pro? How do we set up equipment? Honestly, with the ATEM Mini Pro, just hook up your phone with a USB-C cable to the equivalent phone adapter that you need and turn your phone into a mobile hotspot. I did a video on how to do that. That's the easiest way. They'll give you internet. And then you just bring a mobile camera or sound or whatever, just like before. You run all your sound into the ATEM, let the ATEM handle it, hook up your phone or a hotspot that can be tethered over USB. And in the ATEM, it will show, do you want to use an Ethernet connection or a mobile connection? And that's the easiest way to do that. It's a lot easier than what it used to be before they made that update. Back to our setup here. Example, TV 1 to show camera 1 feed, and the projector get the feed from camera 2 and TV 2 to get the program. And I should have problem in that setup. Honestly, I wouldn't even do it like that. If you say that you want those cameras and those TVs to always show those items, I would just put a splitter in between those and route it that way. So it would be split to go to the TV and then the ATEM at the same time. Yeah, I think that would be easier than that. I mean, plus that would be cheaper than you getting like a smart video hub, which starts at like $1,300 for that. Honestly, I would think in that same setup, we had a similar issue at Spring Creek. If it's not the type of cable, it might be the resources that is being pushed on presenter to try and do that. That's the only thing I can think of. What are the specs of the system? Also, Mike said he hasn't seen any links from you either, Dylan. So sorry about that. That's what I'm thinking from the flickering that you're talking about. Back to Paul. When I do streaming from my laptop, OBS CPU usage is around 50 to 60. While will Web Presenter help to offload the streaming load from the laptop? Yes, it would. Like right now, if I go to my system right now that's streaming, this is my streaming system right now that's running. And if I can bring up the usage, so from a CPU usage, I'm at 14% because it's not handling anything. What I'm doing is I'm externally outputting what you're seeing right here. That's being outputted to the web presenter, and the web presenter is handling the streaming. So if I bring up the web presenter right now, you can't really see it. Well, yeah, you can. Let me do that shot. So right now, the web presenter is sending everything. So it's handling the live stream completely. So there is no workload on my streaming system right there, even though it's capable of doing it. Even though it's completely removing the encoding, everything. All it's using vMix is just a pass-through that's going to my web presenter, and the web presenter is handling all of the encoding. D, if your church stream is live, do you do post-production editing? If so, what is done? I haven't done it in a while, D, but what I used to do is we would stream the entire service, and then 2 hours after the live stream is over, it will become unlisted on whatever given platform. And what I did is, to make more content, I took the entire live stream, cut out all the fluff, and then music that I knew wouldn't get hit, I would, or if the music was good, I would make that into a separate one. If I praise dancers or something, I would make that into a separate video. I would make the sermon into a separate video and then strip the audio out of that and also send that to the live stream. And then depending on the length of the sermon, I would syndicate it. I would put it into a series and make it maybe like 4 videos, 5 videos or whatever with a delayed release. So it would hopefully get more people to watch the next video. Instead of making them sit and watch for 40 minutes, oh, it's a 7-minute video and then to be continued tomorrow at the same time. So it's building traction for people to know, just like this. Y'all know I'm going to be here on Fridays, unless I announce I'm not, around 10:30, 10:45. And it's constantly building traction for people to keep coming back. That's what I was doing in our live stream. But ever since COVID, that all got knocked out, and I really haven't done that in a while. But that was what my post-production did consist of, and it's probably going to consist of that while I'm helping Signs and Wonders do that stuff, because they didn't have any video editing. They used to hire me to do video editing, but most likely we're going to start doing some production and stuff like that. And they said they're also interested in doing the Bible trivia and the whole setup that we got there. So that's going to be cool. I'm going to make a video on all the graphics and everything. I'm going to make it like it's WWE. We're going to have the back wall with fire going off, and it's like, we got team number 1 and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think it's going to be cool in that setup. But anyway, let me know if y'all want me to do that, because I have so many ideas of videos, and then a lot of times, I know it's me, I don't put them out because I'm thinking, nobody would be interested in this. This is probably stupid. But let me know. I'm going to do a whole deep dive of all the content that I'm making for Signs and Wonders, as well as separately from a Bible trivia standpoint, which ultimately is going to be a form of game show anyway. D Green, yes, you can. There's an app on, I think it's on the iPad, on the iPhone as well too, but I have it on Android. It's called Meta Control. So this program right here. So I need to link to mine. I think I'm trying to remember the IP address of what mine is set to. But I normally would do this at my church if I needed, if a shot was too long. Now I can't move anything. I can just change shots. So I'm going to connect. All right, so right now I'm connected. So I'm going to go to the mixer. So I can come here and let me put it, I'm going to switch between this and my studio camera. So right now, let me get rid of this. I can come here and do this. So you can see my hands, I'm not touching anything here. So this would give me control just to switch to the output. Now this is the free one. This is Meta Control. I think it's available on the Apple App Store as well too. But I use that in the case of emergency if I really need to get up and change something, switch shots. Back to Bishop Michael. Can I patch into that church's audio system to get sound, and can I use their wireless if it's available for not the wireless? You can't. Yes, you can patch the audio in. You would just plug it into your mic one, make sure it's line if you're coming from their sound system. And from a Wi-Fi, you need to get a bridge that will bridge, because the ATEM doesn't have Wi-Fi. You need to be able to get like a bridge that will capture Wi-Fi, but then convert it into network. Like they used to have those with the old printers that didn't have, that only had wired connections. I don't know if you can still find something like that, but you need a wireless to Ethernet bridge. Let me see. So maybe something. Top 10 wireless Ethernet bridges. Trying to find something here. I just did a search, but I'm gonna see if I can find something on Amazon instead. Okay, here's one that's like $45. Again, I haven't tested it yet, but it's a couple of them. Maybe I can get one of these and try this out just to see. I might do that. So this is a Ethernet to Wi-Fi universal wireless adapter. So yeah, you would plug anything in and it would, yeah, I think this might work. I think I'm gonna order one of these and just see how this will work with the with an ATEM. Because if you, that would be a cool test to see how well it will perform an ATEM. And I'm gonna go ahead and buy one. All right, it has been bought. So we're gonna do a video on that just to see how well that works. I will put a link to exactly the one that I got, and this is a Wi-Fi to Ethernet bridge. But be on the lookout for the video. It says it's supposed to be here Saturday, so I'll probably do that Sunday afternoon or something like that when I have a break to do some stuff. But that's what you would use for that. And I think if this works well, that would be something. If you have an ATEM Pro or higher and you want to live stream, that would be a good thing to have. All right, Dylan, that screen, that's the exact controller that I've used in the last couple of installs. So yes, that's a good one. All right, back to Paul. How do you connect the video from the PC to the web presenter? Do I need a specific output? No, my computer has multiple outputs. So in OBS or in any other program, what you would do is, all right, let me get on here so we can show you. So my computer has multiple outputs on the graphics card. So in here, all I would do is come up here and I'm gonna do it on monitor number 2. So I would just do a full screen out, and that's all I did. But if I go to my input now, that's what's showing. So the output that's coming from your computer would just be plugged into the web presenter. But be mindful that the web presenter is only SDI in, so you're gonna have to convert it to SDI. But either way, you can just get HDMI to SDI converter for $50, and I would convert that over. But that's all you would do, and that's how it sends over. And that's, I'm going to the wrong camera here. But that's how you would do that. You would just need to have an extra output. If you don't have an output, I've done videos about that before. You can get a USB to HDMI adapter that's $15 that would give you another output. You pick that output, sends it over to the web presenter, convert it to SDI, boom, there you go. So hopefully that helps. Well, Jackie, I was telling Pastor Taylor and them about it. When we do this one, we're gonna have the teams, but we're also gonna have an online component because we want to bridge all this tech in some type of way, and I think it's gonna be really cool. I've talked to a bunch of churches that wanted to do it, and I haven't heard from them. So, but I mean, I still got the unopened box of hot one sauces. I might have to make sure they didn't expire and probably buy another set of them. But yeah. Mike was saying, put the content out there. You never know what will catch. Different strokes for different folks. I agree. It's the time, man. It's the time. I'm so thankful for all the installs, but I deep down, I'm like, man, my channel started from doing tutorials, and I haven't had a chance to do a tutorial yet. I pulled out the X32 so we can go through, because I've had Pastor Bell was asking me about how to do the routing, a separate route for the live stream, and I want to make a separate video for that. But I mean, it's a busy thing, but it's interesting. Pat wanted to know the link for the phone, Android or iPhone. Which one do you want? I guess I can just do both. That's Android. Yep, here's a link for both of them. So I will put that meta control. That's the Android joint. Oh, Meta Controller says it's no longer available on the App Store. But I know they have to have some type of one for the iPhone. Because I know I have it. I think it's paid. I think it's a paid one on the Apple one. Apple ATEM control. Okay, here's another one. It's $5. It's called ATEM control. I haven't used it, so but I'm gonna put it out there. Hopefully that will help y'all with that. Folks, if y'all don't mind, please hit that like button. You really don't understand how important that does for channels. It helps YouTube's algorithm know that something's good is going on here. So if you like the stuff that we're doing here on this channel, please, the smallest thing I'm just asking, if y'all would just go ahead and hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Back to Bishop Michael. What is the best TV size and setup for a confidence monitor, and what should be shown on it? Well, the confidence monitor all depends, and it also depends on the distance. At First Union, that was a 75-inch that we put on the back wall, and that was about maybe 55 to 65 feet back from the pulpit. No, like 40 to 50 feet from the pulpit. And honestly, it also depends on the people's eyes who are going to be watching on it. Normally on the confidence monitor, what we'll put is just black and white, have text for scripture, notes, time, if people want to know how long they've been preaching for, lyrics for the choir, so they don't have to hold up words, or I don't know why you need to do that. You should just have it memorized. Unless you're doing hymns and stuff like that everybody doesn't have memorized. That's what I normally would put on there. But it all depends. You can put anything to your heart's desire on there, but it's up to you. But for me, for confidence monitors, mainly depending on the distance, if it's over 40 feet to 50 feet in distance, at least a 60 or higher. Now, at Glen Allen Baptist Church, that's an 85 that we put up, but they are around like 80 to 90 feet back, no, 80 feet back from the pulpit, and it's a very, very big church. So it needs to be something big for them to see it like that. Mitch Roy, hello. Thank you for joining. Yes, I do. If you need to contact me for a consultation, you can go to ajayhomes.com/consultations, and we can either me or D will catch up with you, and we can set up something. What page are we on? All right, folks. I think we started. We've been going for an hour and a half. So, thank you so much, folks. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on here. And honestly, I still have the foot pedal. I keep forgetting which one is which. Let me try this out. Yeah, my foot pedal. I haven't used it that much because it was pushed back. But thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. And I do have this fixed. I want to thank my patrons and YouTube members for making videos like this possible. You too can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, or you can become a YouTube member by clicking the join button down below. Folks, I don't put the money that they give for either one of these and just line my pockets. Most of this goes to buying new equipment to do reviews, which after we buy the equipment, we bless another ministry with it. That's what you're helping us do here. If you've noticed, I don't do the sponsorships with all these other sponsorships that you hear, because mainly they haven't reached out to me. But at the same time, if whatever sponsorship, if it does not benefit media ministries, I don't do it. So most of the stuff that y'all do, that y'all give, the majority of it, actually all of it, goes towards blessing other media ministries and getting other tech so that we can review and then get you a hands-on, hey, I'm not trying to sell you something, I'm actually using everything that we do. And that's what they help do, to help facilitate and move this channel forward, to hopefully be a resource to help you make your media ministry a lot easier And I just really appreciate all the support that y'all give. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate all the comments, to reach out and everything like that. And I think that's about it, folks. But if nobody's ever told you, thank you for all the hard work and dedication that you do towards your media ministry. I might not be a part of your local ministry, but guess what? We're all a part of the body of Christ, which means we're all together. So whatever you do to help reach other people, I get the benefit of it as well, too. And that's how we work together. It's not meant for each individual to reach everyone. It is meant for us to work together and reach everyone. And I hope I can help in a little bit of way to make that journey a lot easier. So no matter where you are, all over the place of the planet, good morning, have a good evening, have a good night, afternoon, wherever you is. Thank you for watching, folks, and we'll catch you on the next video. Later, folks.